he put him down. I honestly thought the fight was going to be over. But yeah, if I catch him with that shot, it's over.
UFC 305 is live and exclusive right here on Main Event, and joining me is the champion, Dricus du Plessis. Dricus, thanks so much for your time on Fox Sports.
Oh man, thanks for having me.
Tell me, how has this year been for you as UFC champion?
Yeah, it's been amazing. It's been everything that I hoped for, in the years of making and training and, wanting to be a world champion. It's been that and more. And yeah, it's exciting. It's great. I can't wait to defend that belt.
Well, this belt right here, and I want to talk about the championship fight at which you won it. That fight against Sean Strickland in January. 6 months on, how do you reflect on what took place? Yeah,
I mean, the fight was great. I guess the biggest thing we can take away from that fight was I only have 2 decisions in my whole career, and that happens to be the one, winning that world title with decision. And I'm all for a decision if it comes in the way that, it was an absolute banger of a fight. And I guess for me, the thing I take away most from that fight is I proved to myself and I proved to the world that, I have had critique about my cardio gas tank, and I just showed that even if it goes 5 rounds, I can keep up the pace.
Absolutely, and I did want to touch on that because admittedly against Darren Till, against Derek Brunson, you did look a little laboured at times, but in that fight, the longest fight of your career, for 25 minutes, you pushed until the end, throwing absolute bombs. Where did this improvement come from?
Yeah, the biggest thing was obviously we had the nose surgery, and I really honestly don't give that much credit to the nose surgery. I thought we had tests done. We had to make some changes because we were working ourselves to the bone. And every fight I get tired in the rounds and I don't understand it because there's no way I can train harder. So it's already, the load is probably, we looked at overtraining, undertraining, what is the, and it was just a matter of doing some things wrong, and a small aspect of the cardio and the tank was neglected. And it wasn't the fact that I wasn't training hard enough. In fact, I didn't do enough of the low impact work. And the tests were done, and it was actually such an easy fix. And it was actually just after the nose surgery we took care of that. It was after the fight with Brunson where I said, guys, we need to make a plan because I'm putting in all the hours, but I'm not getting the results I want. I'm fighting, but I am getting tired. And it was before fighting Robert Whittaker that we started with the new protocols, and obviously just built off that for the fight against Strickland. And that was the major changes we made, and it paid off. I mean, if I didn't have that, fighting for those 5 rounds the way I did was going to be a very, very tough night.
Maybe you don't have this belt if you didn't make those adjustments.
Absolutely.
And you were able to, what was really impressive to me, you were able to stifle Sean Strickland's go forward simply by pushing forward yourself. I wanted to ask you, how do you do that against your next opponent? How do you disrupt Israel Adesanya? Yeah,
the big thing with the disruption of Israel Adesanya is you can't let him settle and fight his fight. I think at this level where we're fighting, if you let somebody fight the way they want to fight, you're always going to be on the back foot. And it's not just pushing forward necessarily, that's how you stifle it. It's just not letting him find his range, letting him find the shots that he's looking for, and let him get comfortable. He's been out of the octagon for a year, but he has been there for a very long time. So, capitalizing on that, making sure, I've been active, I've been there, and, every single doubt that there is for him. The last time I was there against Sean Strickland, who I beat, he lost that fight quite decisively, 50-45. So while those doubts are there, to make sure that, I keep them there. And the disruption is going to come way in a lot of different forms than the actual fight. It's the disruption is going to be creating the chaos that I usually do and making it chaotic in there. So not just inside the octagon, but do you try and make it chaotic outside the octagon as well? No, I'm actually, I always match energy when it comes to my opponents. If it's respect, if I get respect, I give respect. And but I won't be shoved around. It's never going to happen. So, all of this plays a part. At the end of the day, when I do a face-off, whenever I encounter my opponent, the intensity comes from the energy I have, and that intensity is what matches my fight energy. And that's also that's the fight before the fight, making sure you're winning that energy battle, and that intensity that I have when I fight is the same intensity I have when I do anything that's related to this fight.
Yeah. It has gotten quite fiery between the two of you. Do you dislike Israel Adesanya?
Let me tell you this. I don't know him on a personal level. I don't know him good enough to say I like or dislike the guy.
Yeah.
I just don't think that on the surface of things that we would be considered friends. I think we have different views in life, call it that. But, you know, as an athlete, I have all the respect in the world for Israel Adesanya. He's an incredible athlete. What he's done in martial arts as a kickboxing career and in the UFC is spectacular. He's one of the best to ever do the sport, not just as middleweight, but in general. So, you know, it's an amazing, you know, he's been the guy that everybody's been looking at with the target and saying, I need to be that good to be world champion. So, yeah, in that, you know, I have all the respect in the world for him. But it doesn't really matter what I think of him as a person. It makes no difference to me. It makes absolutely no difference whether I like you, dislike you. At the end of the day, I'm there to do my job and keep this world title. I'm going out there to kill or be killed, and on a personal level, it makes no difference.
You liked Robert Whittaker, and look how that turned out.
Absolutely. Whittaker is somebody that, on a personal level, I like as a man, as a person. I have all the respect in the world, and also as an athlete. So, and like I said, when I'm getting there, it's all business. I'm there to do my job and win at all costs. Personality, what I think of you, has no place in that octagon.
Would you welcome a fight against Rob once again after that incredible win that he had the other week?
Yeah, I'm really happy for him that he got that win. I was really rooting for him, you know, to show the people that, listen, fighting at the top of this, you can be a very good fighter, you can be a great fighter, but there's a very, very select few that can stand out at the top of a division, and it's not easy. I mean, a lot of guys get a couple of wins and they just go, let me fight at the top of the division. Because you're on a win streak, 4, 5 wins even, 3, 4 wins. And now you think you're ready for that step, and there are levels. And I'm really happy for Rob. You know, after our fight, a lot of people said Rob's washed. They said that was not the case, and I never in my mind, even after our fight, thought that. You know, Rob Whittaker looked great in our fight. It was not his night, it was my night, and he proved that against Paulo Costa. He looked incredible, and he proved that now once again against a very, very good opponent. So, in my honest opinion, I would love to see the fight with Robert Whittaker versus Sean Strickland. I think that is the fight that makes the most sense. Strickland saying no.
He doesn't want it.
He doesn't want it. I know Strickland said Robert Whittaker only has a blitz. That's what he said. I tend to disagree with him. Robert's an incredible fighter, but so is Strickland. You know, a very different style, but he does it and it works for him. He does it very effectively. So. And that's a fight I would love to see, and I think the people would love to see. And that's a definite. I feel bad for Rob because the Khamzat Chimaev fight was a title eliminator, and they said it's a title eliminator, and then he didn't get that fight. So I don't think they're going to grant him the title shot just yet with a win over unranked opponent. But you never know. You know, I have no problem if they do that. I'll be happy. At the end of the day, I want to fight the best guy. So I think just to make it clear that Rob and Strickland should probably fight for number 1 contender spot.
If they do fight as a title eliminator, who wins that?
That is a very, very good question. The fact that I really honestly can't say off the bat means it's going to be a great fight.
I mean, you fought them both.
Yeah, I think, you know...
I'll wait for an answer, Dricus.
Yeah, let me think about it. I honestly think it's going to come down to the same thing. Imposing game plans. If you let Strickland walk forward like he did with Paulo Costa, and like he did with Israel Adesanya, if you give him that space and give him that momentum, it's really, really hard to take it back, and it's really hard to swing that fight. So, to making sure Rob fights his fights, if Rob can do his blitzes the way he does it, I think he takes that fight. I think it's going to come down to. I think it comes down to a wrestling and clinch game, and I think Rob wins that fight.
Oh, we'd certainly love to see that. But let's switch focus. Let's refocus to the fight taking place on August 18th. You were talking about breaking down Israel Adesanya. Do you study that fight that Sean Strickland had against him and look at what he was able to impose in preparation for your fight against Israel?
Yeah, 100%. And I don't just look at those fights. I look at the best performances from Israel. I look at the worst performances.
Really?
And I honestly, when I watched that fight, I didn't give Sean Strickland a single chance to win that belt. And after fighting Sean Strickland, I was one of those people saying that Adesanya was not himself. He looked totally off that night. And then I fought Strickland and I went, now I look at the fight and I go, Strickland did exactly what he does. He didn't do anything spectacular. He didn't do anything else than he fought the way that he fights. And it's a very, very hard guy to deal with in terms of landing strikes. And that was what he did great. He was just, didn't throw hard, too hard. He was, just patient, walking forward, landing the jabs, landing 1-2s. And he's an incredibly hard guy to hit. And that's what happened at night, is he couldn't land anything. So, yeah, that speaks to how good Sean Strickland actually is. And that Izzy didn't have an off night. He just had a great plan, and he had a great style to counter that style. Styles make fights. But, I look at all of the fights and I go, where is the best way to win this fight? Where is the biggest dangerous and the most dangerous areas? And we go from there.
Earlier, you credited Israel Adesanya as one of the greatest to ever do it. If you beat him, Dricus, what does that make you?
I'm en route to being one of the greatest ever, and that is always been my goal, is being the greatest ever. And he's definitely one of the greatest middleweights ever, and when I beat him, that's putting me on track and en route to becoming the greatest middleweight ever.
After the press conference in Perth, we all know that he is one of the greatest ever, but you said that he was looking for a reason to justify himself still being here. He was trying to convince himself that he still wanted to be here. Why do you believe that?
I honestly believe that it comes down to seeing the hunger, seeing the fire in someone's eyes. And
you don't see that?
I don't see that. I can't remember if he explicitly said that he's retiring, but he said he's taking off for a couple of months. I don't remember if he did say he was retiring, but it almost gave off that. And everybody would have understood that. He did what he had to do in the sport, and he has reached the pinnacle of what he's going to reach in his career when it comes down to the winning streak. He's never going to have that streak again. Defending the belt, the amount of times he did. He doesn't have the time or anything to beat that. So what is he doing this for? I honestly believe Israel Adesanya's biggest achievement, for personal achievement, other than being a champion and being a great one at that, was getting that win back over Alex Pereira. I think that was, in his whole combat sports career, a big, big issue for him. It was something that he needed to do, was beat Alex Pereira and prove to himself that he could, and he did it. And I think after that fight, that was the last box he wanted to check off.
So with that said, if you believe he's mentally checked out, do you intend on retiring Israel Adesanya on August 18th here in Australia?
I think retiring is something he'll do himself. I'm going out there to beat him. That's what I'm going out there. Whether he retires or not, that's got nothing to do with me. I'm there to win that fight.
I think stylistically, what excites me most about this fight is the fact that it's a battle between two strikers. I love a grappling contest as much as the next guy, but the fact that you two know your way around a knockout so well is only excitement for the Perth fans. Yeah,
absolutely. I think if you look at his fights, his striking is much. He has a very technical style of striking and very evasive style, and I don't see him changing that. And then, of course, I have a very aggressive style, and it's a completely different style of striking, but at the end of the day, it makes for exciting fights. And I honestly believe the best striker, MMA striker, is going to win this fight.
Sean Strickland was able to knock him down. Do you think you can go one better and secure the knockout victory?
If I landed that shot that Sean Strickland landed, the fight was over right there, 100%. Then we know Strickland is not a power puncher. I felt Strickland is an incredible good boxer. His boxing is really, really good. Very awkward and amazing jab. He throws that 1-2 and he does it great, but he doesn't have that starch power. And he put him down. I honestly thought the fight was going to be over. But if I catch him with that shot, it's over.
What's been really impressive for me, Dricus, is watching you improve and evolve. And I think that I remember you and I spoke at the media day prior to UFC 290 and before you fought Robert Whittaker, and you were so hell-bent on getting this belt. Like, this was the be-all and end-all. Now that you've got it, what's your purpose?
Yeah, that's a big thing. I think a lot of people make that mistake. And you know, coming from South Africa, we've had South Africans in the UFC before me. And they weren't really that successful, even though they were pioneers for us South African fighters. I think the goal was set on getting to the UFC. And once they reached that goal, that was it. They've made it. That was the goal. And that's why it's so important on how you set your goals, because being champion is definitely not my ultimate goal. Being known as the greatest fighter on planet Earth is my ultimate goal. So this is just one step, one box ticked on the way there. And that's what motivates me. That's why winning this bout is not the goal. There's a much, much bigger goal.
You are very easy to get along with, but you do realize that this is going to be enemy territory for you, right? After having beaten Rob, coming up against Izzy, are you ready for that? Are you welcoming a hostile environment?
Yeah, I mean, up until this point, I'm yet to be cheered when I'm walking out there. So,
and you've handled it quite well.
Yeah, I mean, it's at the end of the day, the location doesn't matter. For me, this is the next best thing than South Africa. You're fighting in Perth in Australia.
Plenty of South Africans in Perth as
well.
well.
There's quite a few South Africans, and you know, obviously with the Springboks playing on the same weekend, there's going to be quite a few people coming in. And yeah, playing on enemy territory. I guess that's the fact. But I've been in enemy territory the whole time I've been fighting in the UFC. You know, fighting crowd favorites, and you know, fighting people on home soil. And yeah, I've actually grown quite fond of it.
Well, for all the South Africans, for all the Australians who will be there at RAC Arena on August 18th, and all the people who will be watching live and exclusive here on Main Event, tell everybody what they can expect from Dricus du Plessis.
I think it's the fight of the year, if he can last. At least the fight night of the year. I can already see how excited people are, and for a very good reason. It's going to be a special night, and I can't wait to put on a performance. And you know, when I go out there, you know, in some people's books, it doesn't look pretty, but that's not what it's about. It's a fight, and that's what you pay. That's what you pay for. You pay to see a fight, and I promise you, that's what you're going to see. It's going to be a special night. It's going to be a special performance, and definitely my best to date.
Champ, thanks for your time.
Thank you so much.
Cheers.